Hi guys, it's Dan and Becky from
Bugs on the Windshield.
and today we're riding from Lake City, Colorado to Silverton on the Alpine Loop. One of the things I love about the big off-road trip is spending time with our peeps. The places we've visited so far are amazing and beautiful. I love the trails and I love the photo ops as well. Dan and his friend Jeff have been riding the trails together for about 17 years. Even though they live far apart, they find the time to get together for some off-road fun at least once a year. So Jeff signed up for a guest appearance on this video from Bugs on the Windshield, all the way from Colorado. We get to listen in on Dan and Jeff's conversation about off-roading.
So yeah, this was before we were getting ready to head out. You were the guy getting us out of town because you seemed to know the best way out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, we took a preview of the neighborhood so we kind of knew how to get out. There was some snowmobiles off to the side there that were just abandoned.
Yeah, we saw a couple of those. I don't know if people just, when they break down, they get fed up and just leave them on the side of the trail.
Because that was kind of an odd spot just to have one because it was just there. You know.
Yeah, and we saw another one as we were dropping down in Silverton. It was just off the side of the road like that, and it looked like it had been abandoned. But yeah, the avalanche damage that we saw up there was incredible. They had a record amount of snowfall this year and numerous avalanches up there. In fact, the trails weren't even open until about a week and a half before we went on this trip because of the avalanches and the snowfall up there.
Yeah, we were getting really pretty concerned with that because we had booked it. I mean, we had it, the reservations were months ahead of time, just hoping the trails would be open.
Yeah, in fact, I had a couple weeks before I started to pack my fishing gear thinking we weren't going to be able to ride very far, but luckily everything opened up right before we got up there, and seems like everyone else had the same idea we did because the trails were really crowded. And I did read that the Alpine Loop has over 100,000 visitors a year, and I think a big percentage of those were there at the time we were up there.
Now, you've been out there, what, 3-4 times now?
I think this has been my fourth time out there, yeah.
Okay, so you're real familiar with the trails a little more than I would be. I think the last time I was out there would have been 2003, 2004.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that's
we
been...
had our ATVs, and we thought it was a long ways just going up Cinnamon Pass.
Yeah. There was some pretty little climbs here, some switchbacks that we took.
Yeah, we definitely climbed up in elevation. These trails were pretty easy, but they were definitely a good climb in elevation.
There was a lot of snow up there too, still up in the high end. So here's all the Jeeps there.
Yeah, there was plenty of snow. There's a spot where we're coming back over. It was on Hurricane Pass where that snow was taller than the razors.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember seeing the sign for Hurricane Pass. That's right. Because that's where we had that wind. At the top of that was just brutal. That was.
Yeah, that pass is definitely named appropriately because it felt like a hurricane as soon as we came around that corner. Then we had to take California Gulch up to California Pass, and we went over to Hurricane Pass, and then we dropped down into Silverton. And we had to do that because of the avalanches blocking County Road 2.
Yeah, and that made for a longer day. I think we ended up clocking about 80 miles on this trip.
Yeah, I think so.
Out and back. And 80 miles on a car is one thing, but when you're on a Razor and you're probably averaging, probably 15 miles an hour if we did that, 10 miles an hour?
Yeah, 15 probably, yeah, realistically.
So it just takes, and then of course we did stop, take some pictures now and again.
Yeah, I just reset it. I don't know if that helped.
Yep.
What was amazing was the size of the groups that were there. I mean, I felt like we had a good sized group or 3 Razors, but we were seeing 4, 5, 6 Jeeps in a bundle, Razors and quads all grouped together. It was just a lot of traffic up there.
Oh yeah, there was a couple of times that I think we'll view here in a little bit that we had to wait for traffic for quite a bit. In fact, there's almost a traffic jam up there. People are trying to figure out how they're going to get around the turn. Mm-hmm. And I think that was at the top of Engineers Pass, which is, I think we're getting ready to see here.
Yeah, I think you're correct on that. We came up Engineer Pass here, just basically I was about the top, so we head back down, and there was a big crowd up there. But,
we were just basically waiting to take turns going through the corner. And it was a blind corner, so we couldn't see what was coming around the corner, and just vehicle after vehicle kept coming around.
Yeah. We kind of hit it at a pretty good time because we were able to see a lot of the flowers blooming. The trees were taken off. The grass was real green.
It was definitely very scenic this year with the flowers and the green grass and all the extra waterfalls we got to see too, because there was a lot of water crossings and a lot of waterfalls that I didn't see last time because there just wasn't the moisture up in the mountains that there was this time.
Unfortunately, though, we don't have a lot of video of Silverton. We have just the video of us going into town or from the road. You can see the town, but I found a nice place for lunch out there. It was kind of nice to be able to park the quads and go in and have a sit-down lunch and not have to worry about trying to eat on the trail.
Yeah, Silverton's another town that has now allowed OHV vehicles in town. Now, granted, they only allow it on a couple of roads, but we can drive in town, we can park, and we can go to lunch and do a little shopping in town, enjoy it. Talking about the restaurant where we ate at in Silverton, it was called the Pickle Barrel, and we've eaten there once or twice before. It's give them a shout out. It's a good little restaurant to go to.
What is the elevation of Lake City? Do you recall that?
So Lake City is 8,600 feet. And then as we climbed up to the top of Engineers Pass, that was 12,800. So we made a big climb. And then when we got down into Animas Forks is at 11,200 feet. So I can't imagine anyone staying there in the winter. I read a little history on that town, and one year they had 25 feet of snow in one storm. And they had to dig tunnels between the buildings to get between them.
I mean, you want to be pretty hardy if you want to stay up there. And that's
your access is going to be limited to, 2.5 months a year.
Could you imagine, though, how life would have been back then? Because we have the ability to get there with pretty much power machines, power sports, snowmobiles. Back then, it was just pretty much horses, walking. I mean,
yeah. I think they did have a train line that ran up there. The Animas Forks from Silverton.
Oh, did they? So that's how they got the ore back.
Although they built a mill up there, so they did a lot of the refining of the ore right there in Animas Forks.
We were down by the avalanche. The river down there was flowing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the water that was flowing under that avalanche hadn't eroded the avalanche away more, but I think it just kind of dug a tunnel underneath it.
Because we did have
we walked on top of that avalanche, and I mean, you didn't sink in at all. It was very dense. We think, Dan, was that like 25 feet or 30 feet?
Oh, yeah, there was a bit of that. That was covered in, and like I said, it wasn't going anywhere. It was not going to be melting anytime soon.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that avalanche snow is, people describe it as being like cement. Once it comes down, it gets really dense, and also it's full. It had to be full of trees and rocks too, because we could see those bakeries just sticking out of the snow. One thing I found interesting on top of those avalanches when we walked around on them is that they have a bunch of pine needles on top. And I think that happens from, as the avalanche comes down, it picks up all the trees and branches and pine needles as it comes down. The snow melts, but it'll leave the pine needles on top, so you end up with a bunch of on the top layer of the avalanche.
It was cool enough, though, out there, which was nice. It never really got hot. There was some days where it got warm, but...
Yeah, it was one of those trips where you have to dress in layers. When we're down in low elevation, you didn't need a jacket, but when we get up at the high elevations, you definitely wanted a jacket on.
And that was one thing we're pretty good about being prepared for, was having our gear with us.
Well, we've learned over the years what we need to bring for storms. Being caught in storms more than once. The machines did really good that day. No one had any mechanical problems at all, and I was amazed how little gas we actually used, and that's probably because the roads weren't real technical or rock crawling. But when we got back to Lake City after that 80-mile trip, I still had almost a half a tank of gas.
Yeah, I think that I want to say I put 4 or 5 gallons in, because we had about a 9-gallon tank. So yeah, just around the halfway mark.
Yeah, I was pleased that we didn't have to add gas out on the trail.
Yeah, because that was one concern, especially since we had to take that detour, not knowing how long it was going to take us, and we didn't carry any extra gas that day.
Yeah, And I know that day we didn't spend a lot of time taking pictures because we knew we had a big day ahead of us, and so we kind of just focused on getting over to Silverton and then getting back before sunset.
Yeah.
And we made it back in plenty of time before sunset. By that time of the day, I think we were all about ready to get back anyway.
Yeah, I agree. We were ready to head back. But all in all, it was a really pretty good day.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and a lot of good scenery.
It was really interesting to see the aftermath of all the avalanches. Is that right? Is that how you say that? Avalanches? Or is it avalanche?
I think it's avalanches.
Avalanches, okay. I'm not sure what I really expected to see, but once we saw all the downed trees, it really made sense. And it was really hard to imagine the force of all that snow. You could generally see the path that it took. I was just in awe. I thoroughly enjoyed my first day on the Alpine Loop.
Yeah, it was such a good ride.
It was a really good ride. We have way too much video to fit on the YouTube.
Yeah, we had to cut out a lot of it.
We really want to thank our friend Jeff for being kind enough to join us on this video. We hope to welcome him back soon. Thanks, Jeff.
Stay tuned for our next video for more off-road trails on the Alpine Loop. If you like our video, be sure to give it a thumbs up.
And you know what would really be cool? Is if you hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, so be cool.